accountability and ethical governance. So the topic is accountability and ethical governance. So we are mixing two things. Accountability, we know what is accountability. It's basically you are answerable. That is accountability. Now ethical governance means governance is a part of what? Government is a part of governance. Bureaucrats are a part of governance. Okay. So how it will be ethical? So accountability and ethical governance are the topic here. So accountability basically is answerability. You are answerable. To elaborate, accountability necessitates a person to be answerable to his or her actions or decisions. Whatever action you have done, you are answerable to that action. That is accountability. It seeks to fix responsibility for an action taken. It means you are taking responsibility for anything which has happened. That is accountability. Somebody has to take responsibility, right? In the governance, somebody has to take a responsibility. Let us understand the evolution of the word accountable to get better clarity of this concept. The word accountable emerges from the word account. Account means what? To keep count. Thus, a person who maintains accounts is expected to keep count of the money received and paid. जो कोई भी एक पर्सन अकाउंट्स को मेंटेन करता है तो उसका काम है टू कीप द काउंट ऑफ द मनी, कितना मनी आ रहा है, कितना मनी एक्सपेंडिचर में खर्चा हो रहा है, एवरीथिंग ही हैज टू कीप अकाउंट. Thus, this account is called to answer if any money is spent inappropriately. अगर कोई भी मनी inappropriate हो रहा है तो who is responsible for it? तो आंसर कौन करेगा? वही अकाउंटेंट करेगा, because वो मेंटेन करता है अकाउंट. So he has to answer. He has to give a reason what has happened. As time passed, this concept of keeping count transcended the domain of money management or finance and came to be used in every sphere of activity. Thus, a person is accountable implies that he is supposed to keep count of whatever he does and answer the questions on the same. So, accountability is necessary for two reasons. To take action for the failure of an action. To take action for failure of an action or decision. To credit the success of an action. See, if the success is there, you take the credit. If there is a failure, you have to take that. Okay, it's because of me. The problem what happens is success हमारा खुद का, failure किसी और का. This is what in this world happens, right? जैसे कि हम like I always tell on a lighter note, if you clear, then it is your hard work. If you clear, then you say it is my hard work. If you don't clear, you say luck, मेरा काम नहीं किया. You give the blame to the luck. No, you have to take the responsibility. You have to take that accountability. मेरा नहीं हुआ because of my fault. I have not studied on that level. आप बोलते हो कि मैं पूरा पढ़ता हूं लेकिन मेरा नहीं हुआ मतलब कहीं ना कहीं कुछ फॉल्ट है. मे बी यू आर नॉट एबल टू सी दैट फॉल्ट. ओके, फाइन. Let us understand this concept with some illustrations. Suppose a district collector has sanctioned money for construction of schools in his or her district. ठीक है, कोई कुछ money sanction किया है school construction के लिए. The collector has appointed the district education officer as the nodal officer for the construction of the same. An audit finds that the quality of construction is extremely poor. एक audit हुआ और audit से ये पता चला कि the quality of construction is very poor. Now, the district education officer, being the nodal officer, is accountable for this poor quality. The district collector can enforce the accountability in the following ways. Now, अब nodal officer कौन है? डिस्ट्रिक्ट एजुकेशन ऑफिसर है. देखो, डीसी ने पैसा सैंक्शन कर दिया, लेकिन हु इज डूइंग द वर्क? नोडल ऑफिसर यही है. तो ही हैज टू टेक द रिस्पांसिबिलिटी. व्हाई इट इज पुअर? सो अभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर क्या करेगा? अकाउंटेबिलिटी एनफोर्स करने के लिए क्या क्या कर सकता है? व्हाट ही विल डू टू एनफोर्स दैट अकाउंटेबिलिटी? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, कॉलिंग फॉर ए रिपोर्ट फ्रॉम डीओ अबाउट द ऑडिट फाइंडिंग. रिपोर्ट एक मांगेगा पहले. इंस्टीट्यूटिंग अनदर इंडिपेंडेंट इंक्वायरी अगेंस्ट डीओ के, एक इंक्वायरी किया जाए डीईओ के खिलाफ अगेंस्ट दैट पर्सन. इंस्टीट्यूटिंग डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन अगेंस्ट डीईओ. डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन भी कर सकते हैं. व्हाई ही डिड नॉट डू? पैसा तो दिया गया है, मनी वाज सैंक्शन, बट स्टिल देन the audit says कि the construction is very poor, the quality is very poor. Okay, suppose a few consultants are attached to a particular government office. कुछ consultants है जो कि government office के साथ attach हुए हैं कुछ advice देने के लिए या फिर in anything. Consultant means what? Consulting thing. So they tender oral advice, to the head of the department. They give some advice, oral advice वो देंगे. On their advice, he takes a decision and passes the order. उन्हीं के advice पे he passes a order. If the decision leads to any damage, suppose वो decision कुछ damage दिया, so this HOD is responsible for the same. This head of the department is responsible, and he has to take full responsibility. However, consultants do not have any accountability since they have just tendered advice and considering them to take decision is left to the discretion. उन्होंने advice दे दिया, consultants will come, they'll give advice and they will go. So it was not kind of a binding on the HOD. ठीक है, तो वो discretion पे था, and the HOD took those recommendations and implemented that decision. But things did not work out, so he has to be accountable. He can't say कि call those consultants, they will be held accountable or something like that. That's not possible. Okay, so if the HOD wishes, he can set up his own mechanism to ensure accountability of consultants. अगर उसको जरूरत है, because the consultants have given, so if he wants, he can do his own mechanism to how to ensure the accountability of consultant. But you are accountable to the people here. You are accountable to you have to say to the government, okay, this is my thing, I have done this. So HOD can get their advice in writing and then seek explanation as to why their advice fell. ये कर सकता है अपने लेवल पे, he can do, अपने लेवल पे वो कर सकता है. ठीक है? Okay, another example. Intelligent transport system adopted by Mysore City Bus Service is also an accountability mechanism on drivers to ensure that they don't drink and drive and overspeed. GPS enabled mini computers are installed in the buses. The coordinates of the buses are tracked real time. This mechanism forces the drivers to drive at normal speed and not skip any bus stops. In the absence of these, buses were at the mercy of drivers and passengers stranded. ये नहीं था, जब ये नहीं था, इंटेलिजेंट ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम नहीं था, तब बस ड्राइवर के ऊपर था. अभी इंटेलिजेंट ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम में जीपीएस यूज हो रहा है, लाइक आईसीटी यूज हो रहा है. ठीक है, जब आईसीटी यूज हो रहा है, इंटरनेट एंड कम्युनिकेशन टेक्नोलॉजी जब यूज हो रहा है, तो थिंग्स बिकम वेरी इजी एंड द अकाउंटेबिलिटी फैक्टर कम्स. Examples of accountability include accountability of ministers to legislature. Polity में पढ़ते हैं हम, they are accountable. Accountability of companies management to the board of directors. Accountability of board of directors to the shareholder जिसने invest किया है आपके कंपनी में. Government is accountable to public. Accountability of employees to the head of the organization. Accountability of teachers to parents. Accountability of teachers, students to teachers. Even opposite, accountability of teachers, I would say accountability of teachers to students also should be included. Teachers should be held accountable to the students for giving the kind of content or to teach them as per the standard of the exam. Okay, fine. Accountability of businessmen to consumers and so on. ये भी एक है. Thus, essential components of any accountability mechanisms are as follows: hierarchy in terms of the one who assigns the work and the one to whom it is assigned. An in-house team or department to oversee the realization of task assigned and fixed responsibility. एक in-house team होना चाहिए और department होना चाहिए जो कि check करेगा और oversee करेगा कि टास्क जो दिया गया है ऑफिसर को, whether it is getting realized properly or not, and to fix responsibility. An independent external body to oversee the functioning and seek explanation about the same. एक independent external body भी हो सकता है जो कि functioning चेक करेगा उस पर्टिकुलर डिपार्टमेंट का. रोबस्ट रिवार्ड पनिशमेंट फ्रेम, ये बहुत जरूरी है. इफ यू आर डूइंग गुड वर्क, यू शुड बी रिवार्डेड और एल्स पनिश्ड for your actions and decisions, because reward always acts as an incentive. Remember, एक पब्लिक ऑफिसर को अगर रिवार्ड दिया जाएगा तो it boosts the morale. Okay, ensuring that actions and decisions are transparent so that it is easy to fix responsibility. So these are the components of any accountability mechanism. अगर क्वेश्चन आएगा components of accountability mechanism, तो आप कर सकते हो. Okay. Now the question is, Why accountability needed? Accountability makes a person more careful in deciding or acting. तो accountability हमेशा कहीं ना कहीं एक careful आदमी को careful कर देता है in deciding on, because the thing is he has to be accountable. He has to be accountable. Okay. तो एक कहीं ना कहीं एक जो careful attitude है before taking a decision. Second point is accountability discourages bad and inefficient work because it fixes responsibility for the same on a particular person. In ideal situation, he is punished. So kahin na kahin, it will encourage efficiency. Simple term, it encourages efficiency. Third, accountability encourages good work because it facilitates recognition of good work. As much as bad work, दोनों को recognition मिलता है accountability. बैड वर्क को भी वही चीज, लाइक इट सेज इन अ पब्लिक फोरम कि आप इफ यू आर नॉट फिक्सिंग द अकाउंटेबिलिटी इट मींस योर बैड वर्क इज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड. ओके, सो अकाउंटेबिलिटी इज फॉलोड बाय रिवार्ड फॉर गुड वर्क एंड पनिशमेंट फॉर बैड वर्क. अकाउंटेबिलिटी ब्रिंग्स order to any organization's functioning because it establishes a clear relationship between the act and the actor. आप जो हो यहाँ पे ऑफिसर और आपका एक्ट, इसके बीच में जो एक रिलेशनशिप है आपके एक्शन या फिर आपका डिसीजन और आपके बीच में, तो दैट बिकम्स वेरी क्लियर थ्रू अकाउंटेबिलिटी. अदरवाइज एवरी एक्टिविटी बिकम्स द रिस्पांसिबिलिटी ऑफ एवरीवन इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. Then everyone's responsibility becomes none's responsibility. It leads to thorough chaos in the organization. सबका एक responsibility है. Everybody has been given some work which is unique to each other. Okay, so to make that work efficient, we need to have that accountability mechanism. हर आदमी अगर सेम ही वर्क करेगा तो ऑब्वियसली केओस होगा, राइट? ओके. अकाउंटेबिलिटी रिड्यूसेस करप्शन. अकाउंटेबिलिटी अगर होगा तो करप्शन रिड्यूस होगा, बिकॉज फंडिंग हमेशा गवर्नेंस में रहता है. ठीक है, हाउ द मनी इज स्पेंट, whether it is going to the beneficiary or not, everything for that accountability mechanism is required. Now coming to ethical governance. Okay, ethical governance. Governance is the act of governing. Governing refers to directing and conditioning the governed, जो कि public और citizens होते हैं. To elaborate, governance essentially means direct the governed to do certain things in a specific way, preventing the governed from doing certain things, provision of services to the governed. Governed मतलब public. Creation of ecosystems that prompt the governed to exhibit a specific type of conduct or behavior. तो ये सब गवर्नेंस का पार्ट है. मतलब इसमें डायरेक्ट करना होता है लोगों को टू डू सर्टेन थिंग्स इन अ स्पेसिफिक वे थ्रू अ लॉ और अ रूल. प्रिवेंट करता है लोगों को सब फ्रॉम डूइंग सर्टेन थिंग्स एग्जैक्टली थ्रू अ लॉ और थ्रू अ रूल. सम सर्विसेज दिया जाएगा, गवर्नमेंट सर्विसेज लोगों को दिया जाता है. we need the services, that's why we vote, right? एक ऐसा इकोसिस्टम क्रिएट करो जो कि लोगों को बोलेगा कि आपको इसी बिहेवियर से ही रहना है, इसी कंडक्ट से ही करना है, इसी कंडक्ट स्पेसिफिक टाइप. So that is all about governance. So in the above things if the above things are done in order to promote public good and prevent harm to public interest, it is called ethical governance. ये सब चीज अगर आप कर रहे हो और ये चीज जब कर रहे हो, यू आर नॉट हार्मिंग एनीवन, खास करके तो पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट ऑफ हार्म नहीं कर रहे हो, overall you are doing good for the public, then it is called ethical governance. That's it. Okay, so if a ethical governance question come, you have to write first the definition of ethical governance. ठीक है, now the relationship between accountability and ethical governance. अब इनके बीच में रिलेशन क्या है? See, accountability हमेशा प्रमोट करता है ethical governance को. Accountability always promotes ethical governance. Absence of accountability would remove disincentive for unethical governance. One way to enforce ethical governance is to identify the unethical actions on the part of government servants and punish or correct the same. अगर आपको ethical governance enforce करना है तो जहां जहां पे unethical चीजें हो रही है उसको पहले आपको remove करना पड़ेगा. You have to remove that. This is what exactly is done. मतलब आपका जो ethical governance को करने के लिए होता है. With regard to ethical governance, accountability manifests in the following ways. Accountability manifestation. This is the manifestations of accountability इन एथिकल फॉर एथिकल गवर्नेंस। यहाँ पे आप 4 पॉइंट में लिखोगे। एक है अकाउंटेबिलिटी ऑफ पब्लिक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स टू द पीपल, वी वोट देम सो दे आर accountable to the people. Accountable government servants to the people. Here we don't vote to the government servants, but yes, for ethical governance, they have to take the accountability, the government servants. See, it is not rule, कोई law पे लिखा नहीं है, our leaders are accountable, ठीक है, bureaucrats are not accountable, but for ethical governance ये जरूरी है, you need this. Accountability of executive to the legislature, it is a rule, it is a constitutional rule which is mandatory. Accountability of government servants to their higher ups, this is bureaucracy rule. In your bureaucracy, this is a rule, you are accountable to your higher ups, ठीक है. So ये चीज आप one लाइन पे लिख सकते हो, एक लाइन पे लिख सकते हो. Okay, so we'll start. Accountability of public representations to people. A public representative is the kingpin in the framework of governance. If the accountability mechanisms are strong, then he is likely to work to promote ethical governance and the other way around. अगर आपका पब्लिक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स ही एथिकल है, स्ट्रॉन्ग है, करप्शन के खिलाफ है, अच्छा ऑडिट मैकेनिज्म है, and is doing his work with proper honesty and integrity, then accountability is done. Very simple. Elections also act as an accountability mechanism to the public representatives. They become answerable to public to seek re-election. Second time जीतने के लिए they have to be answerable. What work they have done in last 5 years. Though they are answerable to people every time, elections provide a significant opportunity for people to ask questions and seek answers. आंसर तो उनको पार्लियामेंट में देना पड़ेगा, they are accountable. वो तो हमेशा हर साल होता है, बट इलेक्शंस एक प्रॉपर फ्रेमवर्क देता है पब्लिक को, ठीक है. तो ये भी आप लिख सकते हो. सो कंडक्ट ऑफ फेयर एंड फ्री इलेक्शंस इज फॉरमोस्ट अकाउंटेबिलिटी मैकेनिज्म दैट फॉस्टर्स एथिकल गवर्नेंस. तो यहाँ पे इलेक्शन कमीशन का बहुत काम आता है. ओके, few democracies have also issued the right to reject or recall. मतलब वो रिजेक्ट भी कर सकते हैं जो हमारा नहीं है. Right to reject implies that citizens reject all the candidates contesting elections. Right to recall implies right for public to recall already elected public representative. कोई भी इलेक्शन हो चुका है, वो जीत चुका है, फिर भी और एक बार आप पब्लिक को बोल दो to recall. These rights to public ensure that only ethical and honest individual gets elected and stays in power. This forces them to foster ethical governance. तो right to recall, right, ये सब चीज भी ethical governance को promote करता है. Public disclosure of assets. Public disclosure of assets and liabilities by public representatives during contesting election. ये हमारा भी है. आपको अपना asset liability disclose करना पड़ेगा. Okay, this will also promote ethical governance. It is an accountability mechanism. Then accountability of government servants to the people. They see, unlike public representatives who are directly accountable, government servants are not directly accountable. वो तो एग्जाम क्लियर करके गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट बने हैं, वोटिंग से नहीं आए हैं. So their continuation in service is not contingent upon the wishes of the people. Hence, they are not directly accountable. Nonetheless, they are theoretically accountable because they are hired to promote public interest. उनको लिया गया है पब्लिक के लिए, public servant or government servant. You are servant to the people, so you have to be accountable to promote ethical governance. So one line you write, you are not directly accountable, but yes, because you are been hired to for the welfare of the people, so you have to be accountable so that ethical governance gets preserved. Okay, ठीक है. This is a right to information act is a very nice step in this direction. Every citizens have the right to information. Government servants have to give the information. Though the RTA has some exceptions, leave that exceptions. But yes, this is a step in right direction. RTA Act of 2005. Okay. Ombudsman, Lokpal, Lokyukta, ये सब के सब accountability mechanism है. यहाँ पे भी public disclosure of assets of key civil servants ये भी है, जो civil servants है उनको भी डिस्क्लोज करना पड़ेगा. तो ये सब चीज काफी इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, हो जाता है जब हम एथिकल गवर्नेंस की बात करते हैं. ऑल दिस थिंग्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट और की कंपोनेंट्स टू प्रमोट और टू एनहांस एथिकल गवर्नेंस. देन अकाउंटेबिलिटी ऑफ एग्जीक्यूटिव टू द लेजिस्लेचर, ये सब पॉइंट GS2 पे हम लिखते हैं, GS2 मेंस में. पार्लियामेंट्री स्टैंडिंग कमिटीज है, एस्टिमेट्स कमिटीज है, पब्लिक अकाउंट्स कमिटीज, कमिटी ऑन PSU, ये सब अकाउंटेबिलिटी मैकेनिज्म ही है. 0 hour क्वेश्चन है, पार्लियामेंट्री क्वेश्चन जो दे हैव टू आंसर, स्टार्ड क्वेश्चन, अनस्टार्ड क्वेश्चन, ऑल दीस थिंग्स आर एग्जांपल्स ऑफ अकाउंटेबिलिटी ऑफ एग्जीक्यूटिव टू लेजिस्लेचर. ठीक है. नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन भी यहाँ पे आप लिख सकते हो, इज द मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट अकाउंटेबिलिटी मैकेनिज्म. ये सब इसी पॉइंट पे आप लिख सकते हो. ठीक है. लास्ट पॉइंट इज internal accountability of government servants, internal accountability to their higher ups. The government organization is arranged in hierarchy. Every government servant is placed at various vertical levels. Those who are at lower level report to those at higher level. Very simple. Thus, higher level functionaries have control over lower level functionaries. They enforce accountability from lower level functionaries. जैसे कि कॉलिंग फॉर रिपोर्ट्स, कुछ भी हो जाता है पहले तो एक रिपोर्ट दो क्या हुआ है, इज द फॉरमोस्ट अकाउंटेबिलिटी मैकेनिज्म. सो हायर अथॉरिटीज क्या करते हैं, क्योंकि द मेन ग्राउंड लेवल वर्क आर डन बाय द लोअर अथॉरिटीज, राइट? सो दे आस्क फॉर रिपोर्ट. ठीक है. सो दे कैन कॉल फॉर रिपोर्ट्स फ्रॉम लोअर लेवल फंक्शनरीज. दिस हेल्प्स हायर लेवल्स टू कीप अ टैब ऑन द डिस्चार्ज ऑफ ड्यूटीज बाय लोअर लेवल, कि एग्जैक्टली वो क्या काम कर रहे हैं. दिल मॉनिटर. Thus, ethical discharge of duties is also ensured. Disciplinary powers vested in higher ups enable them to institute such disciplinary action as withholding of increments. Increment अगर है उसको रख देंगे. Recovery of losses from salaries, even suspension, ये सब disciplinary actions ले सकता है. Higher up ले सकता है lower level functionaries के लिए. In-house accountability action. Many government organizations have in-house section or wing that forces fostering of ethical governance. These sections are mostly in the form of vigilance units. Audit होता है हर गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट में, आप देखोगे ऑडिट होता है. कोई एक यूनिट आता है, कोई एक बॉडी आता है ऑडिट करने के लिए. तो दैट इज ऑल्सो एन अकाउंटेबिलिटी, इन हाउस अकाउंटेबिलिटी एक्शन. इंडिपेंडेंट रेगुलेटर होते हैं, कैग है, CVC है, CBI, CIC, सेंट्रल इंफॉर्मेशन कमीशन, सब हमारा पॉलिटी टॉपिक. दीज आर ऑल रेगुलेटर्स. RBI बैंकिंग रेगुलेटर, IRDA इंश्योरेंस रेगुलेटरी डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी, इंश्योरेंस रेगुलेटर. ठीक है. सो दिस कीप अ विजिल ऑन द फंक्शनिंग ऑफ गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट्स. SEBI स्टॉक एक्सचेंज रेगुलेटर. सो ऑडिट बाय कैग is an accountability mechanism that brings in financial property. कैग भी ऑडिट करता है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी है. तो अगर ये सब नहीं रहेगा, अगर कैग नहीं रहेगा, तो ऑब्वियस सी बात है मनी मिस अप्रोप्रिएशन हो जाएगा डायरेक्टली, पता ही नहीं चलेगा पैसा कहां जा रहा है, क्या हो रहा है. ओके. So these are the examples of how to enforce ethical governance. So this topic was ethical governance and accountability.